Now, I know I've done another video that went through and explained the processes briefly, but today, because I was woken up in the most unpleasant way and informed that I am apparently not clear enough, I have spent 4 hours, we'll go 4.5 hours, clearing all of this stuff up on my website. So I do use Weebly, because that's part of my website name, not purplemooninteriors.weebly.com. When you get there, this is the first page you'll see is my home page. I'm not just here to promo my page. I'm actually going to use it as a guide and walk with you through my website and the explanations of my process. So let me pop in on the chat and see who's here. There's nobody in the live chat, so that's fine. Let's go and get her done, okay? So when you come to Purple Moon Interiors, you go to the home page, as I've shown you, Gucci and budget. And for those who don't know what Gucci means, apparently there are people who don't know what Gucci means. It simply means we Gucci, we're good, we're fantastic, we're high, level, we're state of the art, all the things that when someone says, oh, we Gucci or we're good or we're top class, that's what Gucci is in slang anyways. Now, you also know the Gucci, the brand, but we Gucci means we're good, we're fantastic. So that's why I have it in my slogan, Gucci and budget, because not only are we fantastic, fabulous, and high, what's the word I'm looking for? High quality, but we're also on budget. Like if you don't have a big budget, let's say you're going to spend maybe 10,000, 5,000, 20,000. That's not a very big budget, depending on, what it is you want to do. If it's for one room, 5,000 is more than enough, depending on the size of the room, of course. If you have like an almost 500 square foot room, you're looking at about $10,000. But I don't ever know until I get to that point to where I'm measuring the room and I'm finding, okay, we need to budget this way, and you're going to spend that probably that much this way, but it's all going to get there. So, I said all of that to say, here we go. So when you contact me, let's say we were talking, or you heard a friend who I'd worked for, or a friend was interested, and you're hearing Kenmore and you're like, oh, I know somebody. I know Nadia. She has her own interior decorating business. Let me just give her a quick message or something. If you message me, text me, call me, what have you, and it's outside of my business hours, I will definitely schedule a 15-minute sit-down call where we will sit down and we go through the details, or not the details, but the basic rundown. What that means is I'm going to ask you a few quick questions. I want to know what your timeline is. How soon do you want this done? I'm going to want to know your budget or investment amount. How much money do you have to spend on this? And that is outside of whatever I'm going to charge you for my personal fees. So the budget means that it's what we use to pay for chairs and what we use to pay for frames, picture frames, any jewelry of the room, couches, rugs, that sort of thing. That's what the budget is spent on. That's not me personally. That's what I use. That's the money I use that you give to me to buy things with. So I ask what your timeline is. I ask what your budget or investment amount is. Do you even have an idea? If you don't, that's, we'll move forward. I'll ask, have you worked with an interior decorator before? Well, I'm getting a lot of people who have never worked with an interior decorator before, and some who do and don't feel my vibe. Cool, whatever. But for the ones who have never worked with an interior decorator before, that gives me an idea of where we're going with this. Do you have expectations? If you've never worked with an interior decorator before, your likely expectations are what you've seen on TV, which, let's just say they water it down by quite a lot. They got what? If you're on YouTube, they got 30 minutes, maybe not even that, 20 minutes. They got that time to show you the entire process and squish it into 20 minutes. So just understand that if you're new to interior decorating, it's not as cut and dry, not as simple as it looks on TV. There's a lot of background stuff that happens, and they just show you the meat of it on the television and on the YouTubes and all any other programs that you've ever seen. That's a situation I get with a lot of newbies. Let me check in with the chat before I move on. Hey, independent stacker, how you doing? Oh, you're an interior designer too? Fantastic. Yes. I'm an interior decorator, though, to be super clear. Independent stacker, just as you heard me say, he said, or they, not assuming gender, they said that they are an interior designer. And I've had another video where I explained what an interior designer is versus what interior decorator is. And really quick, that's also what I do at the meetup. I explain the difference. So if you don't go to my website, or if you have and you had some questions, that's at the meetup. We'll get into that in just a second. And then, of course, at the 15-minute call, I go through next steps, which part of those next steps is letting you know that we need to schedule a meetup. I've got like 15 questions to ask you, and that's not going to take 15 minutes to get it all in. So then we schedule a meetup. And at that time, at that 15-minute call time, I let you know, hey, the meetup is $100 each, and that 30-minute to 1 hour block. I tried to keep it to 30 minutes. People don't have the whoever's apparently to keep it to 30 minutes. So fine. 30 minutes to an hour. It's $100 for that time, that one block. And then I've got to go and see my other clients and my other meetups and my other go-sees and so on and so forth. Perfectly fine. And so the meetup, moving forward, is at a public place. And I always have it at a public place. People say, well, why don't you have the meetup at, my home? Because I'm really just asking for a quote. I just want a quote. But that's not, if I give you the quote and we move forward, I skipped an entire step that's really important to me. At that time, you haven't seen samples of my work. You don't know about next steps and what to expect. I don't know, your personal style. Those are parts of the questions that I ask. I don't know if you've got cats or dogs. I don't know if you've got control of those. I don't know what things I need to factor in. So if I move from the phone call, skip the meetup and go straight to the go-see or the measurements and consultation, you're going to feel gypped, because then I have to backtrack and do all of that again. And you're going to feel gypped. Not only that, but the meetup, which is right here, by the way, if y'all can't see, the meetup is also a chance for me to know your personality and how you work. If you're trying to snap me through it and speed me through and I just want it done, well, that's not how interior decorating works. It's not fast. It's not like you see on TV at all. And it is a very personal, tailored situation. And you're trusting me, or we're trying to see if we can trust each other. You're trusting me to do the job that you paid me for the way you want it done. So let me take a quick pause to the chat before I move on. Okay, Guy. Thank you, independent stacker. I don't want to put anyone's incorrect gender out there. So independent stacker is a kitchen and bath guy. Hi, Scrapping Hoarding. I'm an interior designer of sorts, says Scrapping Hoarding. I design industrial electrical systems. So these two people understand. Y'all gets me. Y'all are my fam. I appreciate you. I actually love industrial electrical stuff because it's part of, it kind of relates to what I do, because of what they need is an overhaul of their kitchen. I'm not a designer. I don't fix four walls. I just make it look pretty. Then I have to outsource to people like Scrapping Hoarding, who's industrial electrical systems, or if they need tiling. I don't do tiling personally. I have to outsource. So that's what a decorator does. Most of my work is management, people, team management. But anyway, that's moving forward to a little further down the line of the conversation. So again, to make it clear, it's $100 each per meetup. That's to cover me. That's to cover you. That's how you know I'm legit. I don't foresee in the nearby foreseeable future me raising that higher than 100 each. I started at 50 because I wasn't really sure of myself, but people will only take you as serious as you take yourself. So, and the reason why it's $100 each, because I have to go out to the location. I have to take time out of my schedule and whatever else I'm doing that day to make sure that I've squared away this time for just you and pay attention to just you. It would be really awkward if I had you meet at my home. How would I explain that? Well, I have clients come to my home and they pay me $100 an hour. If that doesn't sound illegal in any way, you're a different kind of person. I pay clients $100, or clients pay me $100 an hour to spend time with me. Okay, well, that doesn't sound kosher or PG-13 in any sense. So once I do the meetup, you receive the invoice. I've put it up here in an email, or you pay at the meeting's end. I allow flexibility for payments. I accept crypto. I accept, payment through Square. I use Square for all my invoicing, hashtag non-spawn. But, that just lets you know, I try to make it as easy for you guys as possible. Cost and fees vary from contract to contract. And as such, service fee estimates are given at the go-see, which is also the at-home consultation. I don't know what I'm going to charge you until I get there to the space that you're having me do. So right now, if you look on my book tab here, you see that I have a spring Washington State, man. Anyway, spring break fever flash sale. So if you book before the 21st, you'll get 30% off your first project. Meaning, translation, I normally charge $7 a square foot, but because I'm having the special, it's $5 per square foot. And so that's approximately 30% off, and I'm not going any lower than 5% or $5 a square foot. I did that. I shot myself in the foot and I was crying hard. People don't understand. It is just me. Solamente. Just me here. Okay. Let's see. At the meetup, let's see. Scrapping Hoarding says this conversation is going novus. Well, yes. That's what this whole thing is about scrapping, is that people seem to not understand or feel like I haven't explained things clear enough. So today, I'm splaining. I'm splaining as hard as I can. Okay, so at the meetup, let's say we vibe. You like what you hear. You like the samples that I gave you. Then we schedule the go-see. I send you the invoice. We move forward. The next part is the go-see. That's when I finally come to your home. I feel comfortable with you. You've met me face to face. I know that you're not an axe murderer. You know that I'm not an axe murderer. You see that I'm a legit person, independent business owner, trying to hustle forever, in a good way, not the bad way. And so the step 3 is that's $100 an hour. And it usually takes about an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours. Larger projects may take longer. I usually, if it's a living room that's say 16 by 16 feet with 8-foot walls, that's going to take about an hour and 45 minutes. I'll bill you accordingly. I'll send you the invoice, or I charge you at the moment, whichever is most convenient. But if you have 12 rooms that you want to get done, and the largest room is 500 square feet, that's going to take a minute. That's going to take a lot of minutes extra. And that's not going to be, $200 or $250. That's usually going to take me twice as long, approximately twice as long, in addition to having to write down all the other little notes. I don't have, if you watch Mr. Kate, I don't have a Joey who can come in and do the measurements while I talk to the clients and cut that time in half. I wish I did, but I don't. And even if I did, I'd have to double charge so I could pay for that handyman to do all those things that I need to do, because I have to pay him. So let's see here. Chat. Whew. Yes. Scrapping, hoarding, you are my fam. Yes. He said, people want fast and perfect, but cheap. Yes, I've said that a lot just now. So moving forward. So beast mode. Beast mode means this is how we get down to the nitty gritty, is how I get an idea of, how you're going to handle me, how I'm going to handle you. Yeah, we got a vibe at the meetup, but I'm spending a couple of hours minimum in your home. People tend to show their true personality, same to me, by the way, in that time frame. You get a taste for about an hour. It's like a date, but when you're in someone's home, you really get a feel for their real inner selves. So if I didn't meet, let's say you're married and you have a spouse, but they didn't come to the meetup, that's at that time at the go see is when I would take a little bit of time and do a little bit more of the same, because to me, quality matters. And I want everybody in the household to be happy with the end result. And that spouse is going to be a part of it, unless it's made super clear to me, oh no, they're not going to be part of it. Then I'm not going to worry about it. At that point, if you tell me they're not going to be part of it, this is just all about me and what I want, cool. I will be totally happy with just dealing with one person, because the more people you add to a project management process, the more confusing it can get. So I briefly review the info gathered at the meetup, and I go over any questions that you had. Like, some people will have questions after the meetup and they'll be like, oh crap, I want to ask all those questions. Well, we scheduled a go see. You could ask those questions then. And I spent a good 30 minutes on that. And then I go into the details of the contract, because I feel that all my clients should know broadly what's in the contract and what to expect, and they don't have any nasty surprises. So I'll go through the independent contractor agreement, which is something I feel is very important, because I am an independent contractor. I have to source out, so that has to be agreed to, and they have to know what's in that. The interior decorator contract, which is job specific to what I do, the terms and conditions, so that they lets them know their rights and their, word I can't think right now, their rights, obligations, and agreements to everything. And they keep that once everything's signed. And the rights and privileges as a client of Purple Moon Interiors / Nadia Arena Silver. And that's really the boring part, to be honest, but it is really needed, because I want people to know. Now, I still haven't had any, very few clients who are like, yeah, sure, take pictures of my home when you're done, because it's very private. It's their home. They don't want nobody seeing the inside of their home unless they do that, which I totally get. But I also need samples of my work, and it's touch and go, but I also talk about that as well. We talk about, are you going to be home? Do I need keys? Like, how is that going to happen? If you're not going to be home, how am I going to get the keys? Do you do like in August? Do I need the code for your August, or do I need the code for your nest? We talk about those things too. After all those very boring but needed stuff is done, then we go into this sort of fun part where I get an idea of all the measurements. A floor plan of your home helps, but I need some details. I need to know the size of your windows and if at some point we do window treatments, that saves me all that hassle having come back and do the measurements again. The setting of your windows, is it set, just into the wall, or does it have borders, or there's a ledge? Is there, what details I need to make note of? And the depth and distance off the floor, like how much of a ledge do I have? Can we kind of turn that into a bench seating area? Or, because sometimes people have 2 feet from the ledge of the window to the actual physical window. And I could put that as an inset, little reading nook, something. Or maybe it's just, 4 inches or 5 inches inset. And okay, we could kind of use that as like, depending on the style we're doing. Let's say we're doing a San Francisco style. We could do that, a cute little bench breakfast area, depending on if it has a good view, all those things. I document any weather grates, outlets, any water damage to the home that I can't do. I have to advise them to fix that first. Some rooms are actually in the basement, so I have to look for mold. I have to look for all those things, because I can't touch the space until it is health code applicable. I look for alcoves, like the little cutouts in a wall. insets, potential trouble spots, like I just mentioned. And it also helps with giving you an estimate for the service fee going forward. So let's say I'm doing a room that's 16 by 16, approximately 250 square feet. You do the math. That's currently what the price is, $5 per square feet. So that's 250 times 5. I'm not doing the math right now, but that gives you an idea. We're getting pretty close to the 1,000-ish range for my service fee alone just to do that room. And remember, I told you already that it's probably going to cost, to do it even on the cheap of the cheap, it's going to be about $3,000 to $5,000. So that's in addition to my approximately $1,000 fee. So you're looking to spend, heads up, $6,000 total. That's including my service fee and the budget. Let me look into the chat. Okay, scrap hoarding. Scrap hoarding says, I say you want cheap and fast. I can't guarantee your house isn't going to burn down. Scrapping hoarding brought that sass today. He said, so I'm not doing it. Scrapping hoarding left. Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate that. And then just a little tear off of this conversation. I decided to hold this late. I was actually going to hold it a little early, but it took me way too long to edit my website. So here we are later in the day, right before dinner, I think. Nope, it's 4:45 my time. Okay, so step 4, let's say, okay, you like what you hear and I've sent you the proposal. I've given you my costs. Let's say we're doing more than one room. I'm going to send you an estimate per room on my service fees. I'll also send you an estimate of how I would chop up the budget and how much you have. So let's say you're telling me I want to do 2 rooms and I've got $10,000, but one room is bigger than the other. Then I would proportionately modify the budget accordingly. So let's say a bathroom's not going to cost $3,000 unless, you like it like that. And let's say it does. The bathroom costs $3,000 to do. That gives you $7,000 to do the bigger room, which is usually about 8 feet by 11 feet, or some is going to like that. That's still a good amount of money to bring in if you need everything. You need a bed and you need lighting and you need night tables, You want to either decide if you need a vanity area or you really would just prefer to have a desk in your room. Are we doing the closet? Because then there's another fee on that. All these other things I have to think about. And all that happens during the go-see. And those are my notes as well. So then we do the thing. We sign the contract. You're like, okay, I have a very broad but good idea of where we're headed. Let's go ahead and sign the contract. Cool. Great. So then I will always check in with you weekly and I'll keep you updated on all the moving parts. Anytime something changes or needs your input or review, I got you. What that means is, well, what it says. If you, for example, let's say we have everything and we've figured out the paint and you got a piece of custom furniture for your living room and it costs $2,500 and everything's going smoothly. And then I get a call from the supplier who's making the furniture for you. And they say, we got something happened with one of our delivery trucks. We're going to be set back by another 2 weeks. And let's say the product took about 2 weeks to make. That's twice as long. That's very frustrating, but that's for me to say, hey, okay, thanks for the info. I'll give the new date to the customer. And all this process is for me to tell the customer, it's going to take longer. Some things stop, some things go. It's never, that's why I say it takes about 3 to 4 months per room because things happen. And I like to have that cush room. Like it could happen sooner than 3 to 4 months, but at the same time, because I have other clients and things happen. Like I just said. So then I'll contact you and say, hey, the couch is going to be pushed back. And the couch is a major piece of furniture in a living room. So that's a big setback. Most people would be very frustrated. It's totally understandable. But it's still my job to relay that information. And do you want me to look at another supplier or do you want to stay with this supplier? Like, how do you want to proceed? Well, no, let's go look at another supplier. Yeah, it's going to cost me more, but it'll get here faster. And I'm willing, you as a client says, I'm willing to pay for it. Okay, great. Or no, let's stay with this supplier. I'm not going to be home for another 2 weeks. It's not a big deal for me. then I'll manage it and I'll say, okay, well, no, that's good. The client's already said that that's fine for them. I get to be the mediator. So the supplier can cuss and fuss and say what he wants. And then I very professionally relay the basics of the information to the client. Client can cuss and fuss all they want to, or praise or whatever. Good news always gets passed. And I, pass that on to the supplier. And because I'm running my special, and I'm giving that 30% off, I currently am not using my 20% contractor discount because you're already getting 30% off. So I was at one point for one client, but we're here now. So part A is I do the 2D and 3D model after we sign the contract. We use it as a reference point. We change colors. If, you come to me and you're like, well, we did do the mood board and I would like to see what this would look like. And I'll send you pictures of all that stuff. We do the mood board. You send me pictures of stuff that you've seen on Pinterest, on YouTube, on Instagram, or just surfing the web late at night with donuts. I don't have any personal experience with that. Yeah, I'm lying. I do. We go through optional here, but we go through like whether or not you're going to have furniture. And then we go through all the different stuff like soft fabrics for the furniture or curtains, or, are we going to do, my brain stopped on me. Oh, what colors are we going to do? If we're going to paint, and if we're going to do wallpaper, are we going to do removable wallpaper? Are we doing perma wallpaper? And I got a schedule for doing wallpaper. I've got to schedule the professionals to come in and do that. Are we temporarily doing window clean? Like how, all of that stuff. That's the fun stuff, right? And we stay and we use the original design from the 3D model to stay on track. Well, I use anyway. And then there's setup day. So this is what they call the reveal when you're on television. And before I pop into that, let me check on the chat. Okay. Setup day is the day everybody looks forward to. It's the shiny apple after it's been plucked and delivered to the grocery store to sit on the shelves for you to grab. That's setup day and purchased for you to eat when you get home. This is the eating time. So stuff is delivered, stuff is installed. If you're having floating shelves or any tile or furniture, fixtures, wall treatments, mirrors, if you're having a toilet rack installed, all that stuff happens. And I say day, but it's not really one day. It actually does and can take a span of days. But depending on the project, my average setup day, and I'm using air quotes, is about a week. And then painting, wallpapering is happening, doing any last looks and fine tuning things to make sure everything is perfect. If all the things work, let's say you got a new faucet and they install it and they say it works when they did it, I have to go back behind them and check to make sure it definitely works the way it's supposed to. And if not, I've got to call them back and tell them, fix it. So this is, we may start with one idea, like see how close this looks to this. And you like this idea, but then we end up with something more open and fresh and clean feeling like this idea. So it does take, as I said before, approximately 3 to 4 months per room, lots of moving parts, as you now know, to get here. But, we do all of these, I do all of these things, and I manage all of these other parts to make sure that you will really love it. As you see here, back to the mood board, I've got all the different color swatches from all the different pictures. And I use all of that and make sure that everything is consistent through and through. So that's why it's expensive to hire an interior decorator, because you're essentially hiring me to do all the stuff that's a headache for you to have to worry about. Okay, I'm going to give some Q&A time. Do we have any questions, comments, worries, concerns? There's nothing in the chat, but I'm going to leave it up here for you guys. So just to refresh and rerun through, here's my process. Step 1 is a 15-minute call. It's a free call. It'd be a totally jerk move for me to charge you just to find some basic information out. Step 2 is a meetup. It's $100 each. You get 30 minutes to an hour. And I do describe that on the booking page. Step 3 is the go see, where it's $100 an hour, and it typically takes, it can take less, but it typically takes about an hour to 2 hours on average. Larger projects may take longer. If you have me doing multiple rooms, it will take longer. And step 4 is doing the thing. And that has, as you can see, part A, part B, part C, part D, all the different moving parts. Painting is always done last, ironically enough, and clarified last because people think you do painting first. No. That's literally the last thing that's done. And then you have setup day, where everybody's happy, everybody loves it, everybody comes in and compliments on it, and we're done. And you can keep my business card for future reference, and I can keep your information for any future projects you may want for me to do. So I hope this was very clear. This was just going to be a really quick video. Where are we on time? Probably super dang long. That's the wrong tab, Nadia. We've probably been here for about 30 minutes. So I'm going to cut it out. I hope this clarified for you guys. If you're catching this in the after mode and I've already stopped filming, I want you guys to go ahead and push pause so that you can get more clarification. If you still don't get it, you still don't understand it, you still have questions, please, 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 please leave a message in the comment below. If you want to hear more stuff like this, or you have suggestions on what kind of other videos I can do, also leave those in the comments below. Like, share, subscribe, and I will see you guys later. Bye.